We review all the best sports clips from around the world. Now you're probably wondering, why should I watch over here instead of any of the other channels? And that's because over there, they don't care about what you have to say. They talk down to us, they think we're just a bunch of clowns on YouTube, Twitter, but I think it's the opposite. I think we know exactly what we're talking about. So I read every single comment. So if you think what I'm saying is the most ridiculous thing you've ever heard, let me know in the comments below. If you think what I'm saying is the most amazing thing, then definitely please let me know. Either way, let's get into some discussions, let's get into some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and it's turning into something truly, truly special. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of, and I think we're well on our way to doing it. So without further ado, let's get to it. We're watching a clip of First Things First, talking about Mahomes Mountain, which we obviously know Patrick Mahomes is going to be at the top. I'm not sure. Oh, if I guess it's the Nick reveals his Super Bowl Mahomes Mountain. So I don't know if this is all Super Bowl QBs. I really don't know. I never watch the clips ahead of time. So really, let's just jump right into it.
That's not funny.
Yeah, terrible.
We're headed to Rare Air, an all Super Bowl roster edition of the coldest segment in all of sports. It's Mahomes Mountain, but everybody's on it.
Yes, and you might wonder, how can it be called Mahomes Mountain? It was called Mahomes Mountain because it's the quarterbacks and because he's at the top. Well, guess what, guys? Spoiler alert. He's going to be at the top of this mountain, too. But it is 21 players, 6 rows, and these two teams have so much talent.
Between the two teams.
The following guys didn't make the mountain. 2 All-Pros. Joe Tooney and Hufanga because of injury, because they're out for the game. But Javarius Ward, who was an All-Pro, did not make the mountain. Eric Armstead did not make the mountain after I talked to a smart defensive personnel who's grinding the All-22 and said wasn't that impressed. I won't name who it was. Might be sitting next to me. All right, here we go. Row 6. Row 6 for the mountain.
Come on.
Dre Greenlaw, Javon Hargrave, 2 of the reasons that this Niners front 7 is the strength of their.
Right off the bat, we know that this is a disgrace. Putting Purdy all the way down there is just absurd. And they say that the left to right doesn't really matter, but it really does. That's why they keep doing it. It's because, they'll probably make a comment here. But the fact that Purdy is all the way at the bottom, I understand that if you don't want to put Brock Purdy at the top, if you don't even want to put him top 2, top 3, top 4, top 5, that's fine, right? I'm okay with that. But to act like he is, below Hargrave or Reed or Greenlaw, Butker, Juszczyk, it's just that's just stupid. And that's the thing where someone told me this before, that Nick Wright does do these hot takes, like that he just tries to be controversial for clicks and stuff like that. Which if you guys have that clip, please send it my way. I'm still waiting to see it. But to me, this is just absurd, honestly, because that means he's saying he's the 22nd. Because I think he said that there's 22 people here, and so that means he's the 22nd player, which there's just, whether you're the biggest Brock Purdy fan or a Brock Purdy hater, he's more important to this game than just that. So that just doesn't make sense.
Team defensively, at least. I think one of the most underrated safeties in the league, Justin Reed. Oh, and also on the mountain of the 21 guys, 10 of them are the best in the league at their position. 2 of them right there next to each other. Harrison Butker, ever since Justin Tucker fell off of it the last couple of years, trash talk didn't help. Kyle Juszczyk and Brock Purdy making the mountain for the 21 best players in the Super Bowl in year 2. It is a remarkable story of perseverance, an underdog story, a guy going from Mr. Irrelevant to a Super Bowl mountaintop in his first year as a starter. True. It's amazing. He doesn't mean it and again, Wilds, if we can remind the audience, the mountain is top to bottom. What is it not?
I'm not with you on that.
Well, you're right.
What do you mean?
We've got sources on the committee.
There's no committee either. It is not left to right.
It's left.
It is who would have a fullback ahead of the quarterback. Give me a break. All right, now the top 15. Isaiah Pacheco, another underdog story, a 7th-round pick, but nobody he was the 7th to last player pick, so he doesn't get any of the notoriety. George Kittle, top 3 tight end in football. Jerry Rashee Rice, who is up 20
now
yards
Kittle
away
is
from
all the way down there.
Receiving yards in
Pacheco is above Kittle.
The best center in football, Creed Humphrey, and this year, first-team All-Pro in the slot corner. We won't call him the best slot corner, but he was first-team All-Pro. It's the nickel corner, Trent McDuffie, a great draft pick they got with the Tyreek Hill trade. Now for our top 10. Brandon Ayuk, fresh off the best season of his career. Fred Warner, the best middle linebacker in the sport. Deebo Samuel, when healthy, one of the best jack of all trades in the sport. Nicky Bosa, of course, that's an all 9 in a row, my goodness.
Wow.
Nicky Bosa, one of the better edge rushers in the league and the best of the two Bosa brothers. Now to your top 6. All 3 of these guys, the best in the world at what they do. Christian McCaffrey is the best running back in football. Chris Jones is the best defensive tackle in football. With respect to Aaron Donald, Chris Jones has surpassed him. And L'Jarius Sneed this year was the best coverage corner in the entire NFL. Now to the top 3. You have the best left tackle in the league, the best tight end ever, the best playoff tight receiver not named Jerry Rice ever, and the best tight end in football. And then, of course, atop the mountain, the best quarterback in the world. 10 of the...
All right, this is just silly. Honestly, this is really, really absurd when you really kind of look at this. I just can't believe, because I'm judging this based off of this season, not historically, more than anything right now, because we're talking about, because it even says Nick Wright lists who's the best from top to bottom on both the Kansas City Chiefs and San Francisco 49ers, right? And so all season, he's always done this moving target of like, how are you playing this season for the mountain? So that's the way I'm treating this. And so it's just absurd. You can't possibly have Purdy dead last. Makes no sense. You can't have Kittle all the way below Ayuk and even Debo and Bosa and Debo even, honestly. Like, Kittle is, a bona fide dog. And don't get me wrong, that's not to say that Debo and Bosa, shouldn't be up there, but it's just like the fact that Kittle is behind Pacheco, it just doesn't make any sense. And the fact that he's behind Kelsey, Kittle has been better than Kelsey this season. No ifs, ands, or buts. Even Kelsey said that. And Kelsey's a very cocky guy. So if Kelsey believed that he was still the best tight end, he would have said, I'm the best tight end. I'm the best. And he didn't say that. He literally gave it up to Kittle. So that, again, doesn't even make sense. And Christian McCaffrey, how is Christian McCaffrey below Travis Kelsey this year? I mean, it does. Again, that also does not make sense. So this whole list is just so bonkers, honestly. I mean, it really doesn't make any sense. Really, I feel like you could definitely have Mahomes at the top, right? And then if you want to, then I would at the very least put Christian McCaffrey there, and Debo as probably 2 and 3. And I mean, it's just too hard to really kind of go through all of this like this. But to me, that alone already looks better. But it's just like, and then you guess you could have Trent there at 4. Sneed makes a little sense. Then throw Ayuk up there, but it's just like, and then maybe actually put Purdy up there. But it just, again, this is just, he's doing this just for the fact of making 49ers fans obviously really upset and angry, putting Purdy at the very bottom, putting Kittle all the way down there. He's just trying to stir up controversy.
The positions across the entire league, the best players at them are in this game right here. Coach, that is the Super Bowl edition of Mahomes Mountain.
It's a nice mountain that he's put together.
Thank you.
It's a little bit more palatable than the ones you normally put together. I need to move CMC up. I need to move him up. I think the impact that he's had on the 49ers can't be overstated. So they're 22-6 since he's gotten there. Okay, and the difference between him and a lot of guys at his position is he can go out and he can catch passes and he can work on linebackers, he can work on safeties. He's got that versatility, and usually when you have those guys, then you're giving up something in some other area. But he's excellent as a blocker, so he can pick up linebackers and blitz protection. He can do that very well. He can hit the edge in the running game, and he can run downhill. So very rarely do you find a back that has all those elements to it. Nick talked about his impact and his numbers this season, but to me it's the impact that he's had on the team itself and how dangerous he is on a simple check down to take the ball 60 yards, which you don't find with most backs. And his issue over the course of his career hasn't been ability by any stretch. It's been, availability or durability. So to me, he deserves to move up and have the same impact as either Trent or Kelsey.
Okay, so a couple things. One is, one of Coach's, my favorite kind of Coach anecdotes from way early, years when we were in the old studio, is you would talk about guys, I don't know if you would say show muscles or effective muscles. You would talk about guys, the difference between guys who are effectively really strong and guys who just look great coming off the bus. I feel like Christian McCaffrey and Mahomes are great examples of that first category. So we saw that video of McCaffrey walking around his house with all the bruises and stuff. Oh, yeah. He doesn't look as ripped as some of the other. No, he looks strong. Big, yeah. He looks strong, but he clearly has, I think, some intentional weight on him that makes him so bouncy off these guys, and one of the reasons he's so effective. I think he is far and away the best running back in football, but I have to, as Doyle Brunson would do, put a man to a decision. Who are you moving down? Trent Williams or Travis Kelce?
I would move Trent Williams down.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah,
look,
the record with Trent versus Christian is dramatically different. Trent and the impact that Christian has in the game. Right. I mean, it's much more extensive.
I was ready for a whole Travis Kelce rebuttal.
No, Travis Kelce is perfect.
Go ahead.
Nick, I'm sorry to do this. I have to call you out.
Yeah. Why?
I don't understand how in like 4 days of nothing going on since last Thursday, what is that? 5 days, whatever. Kyle Juszczyk becomes better than Brock Purdy.
He's not better.
Because Dusty, can we see the graphic?
Yes.
This was not even a week ago.
Yes, that
I
is
don't
in
see
order.
Juszczyk
That
on
is
there.
left to right. Correct.
I see. So how does Juszczyk move ahead of Brock Purdy?
He hasn't. What do
That
you
is
mean?
an excellent point.
It is not left to right. It is how many times I have to tell you. It is levels of the mountain. Is this all that you have? There is no committee.
No, that's just the one.
No, I don't have Juszczyk ahead of it.
I do think Fred Warner should be switched with Snead. As much as I like Snead, I would switch Warner, put Warner where Snead's at. Switch those two. And Brock Purdy, this is my beef, should be up there where Brandon Ayuk is. All right? Ayuk is great, but somebody threw him all those passes, and it was Brock Purdy.
Hold on.
Debo is banged up a lot, so I thought a few years ago, I thought he was the best football player in the world.
Wait a minute.
But we got to take him down a little bit. I would actually switch Kittle and Debo too. And having Pacheco, I don't know if anybody on national television has pubbed up Isaiah Pacheco like me. I said reminds me of Marshawn Lynch. All right? But you cannot have him. Didn't even rush for 1,000 yards this year. Rashee Rice ahead of Brock Purdy? I mean, what are we talking about?
So you think Brock Purdy
should be on that
I just want to
fourth
make
tier.
it very clear. And you are left to right. That is your belief. So you think he is the 7th best football player in this game?
No, I said Warner. Like when I did mine last week, Warner I'm saying he should be on that level.
All right, this is getting messy and sloppy. This is the problem with the pyramid because you have to do it in your imagination where you're like, okay, bring this guy up here, that guy down there, and it just gets kind of messy. The reality is for this is, well, first off, there also seems to be confusion about whether or not this is for like the career or the season or what are we talking about here? Because if we're talking about career wise, then I understand having the order makes a little bit more sense to a degree. But with that said, I know that's not the full-on truth because Kittle would not be on the same level as Pacheco. Same thing as I'm trying to think of who else where this would be. I mean, yeah, again, this is where when you start to mix positions and defense and offense, it just gets a lot messier, right? Quarterbacks obviously make sense, right? We can compare quarterbacks from today until forever. But if you're going to say, like, who's more important to a team, Purdy or Hargrave or Greenlaw or something, you're like, how do you really make sense of that? So the way how I try to look at it is realistically, if one of these players goes down, how important, how much does your team really, really hurt? And that's why, obviously, even though Kelce's not having his best year this season, he's still obviously really important. Kelce goes down, the Chiefs are really hurting. If Pacheco goes down, the Chiefs are really, really hurting. So you can really make the argument that if any of these players at any moment goes down, the team is going to take a massive drop back. But Purdy, if I'm looking at it for just this Super Bowl right now, nothing else, and I'm just thinking, what is the most important? Who do we need to have right more than anything? Who can we have who can't make mistakes, who has to play a great game, and whoever plays this great game, that's where it's going to really affect the game more than anything. And so to me, Purdy, that's why Purdy has to be all the way up there, because if Purdy plays really bad or just not good, not great, 49ers don't win. If Patrick Mahomes doesn't play good or great, the Chiefs don't win, right? Same thing. Kelsey now can drop some balls. We've seen the 49ers or the Chiefs win with Kelsey dropping some balls, right? He dropped a bunch of passes in what was it, the Dolphins game, and yet the Chiefs, still won pretty easily. Now, if Debo's not playing, we know the 49ers offense looks significantly different. If we know Christian McCaffrey is not playing, we know that the 49ers significantly don't look the same. Ayuk, if he's not making these great catches, we know. Purdy, if he's not playing good, we know. So to me, all of those players make it so much more important. The 49ers can win plenty of games and have Bosa not really do too much. Bosa hasn't had some of these big, massive games, especially like in the playoffs. He hasn't been this absolute unstoppable monster. He's a monster in his career and a monster throughout the season, but he hasn't been this big game breaker, right? He's not coming up huge, in these games right now, as of right now, I'm saying. So don't take that as Bosa hate. I'm not hating Bosa one bit, but he hasn't been this big, massive factor just yet so far. And you're going to be looking for him to be a big factor in the Super Bowl. But the point is that you're not like, if you're a 49ers fan, you're not like, we need Bosa to have a huge game in order to give us any type of chance. Sure, if he has a big game and he's really harassing Mahomes, and yeah, obviously that makes everyone's life more easier on the 49ers, but that's not the big game plan. You can win without Bosa having this big game, because, you can, your game plan is, and beating the Chiefs, your game plan is never like, we need to just contain Mahomes. That's not the plan, right? If you're trying to play the Lakers or LeBron James, Steph Curry, Michael Jordan, the game plan isn't like, we can win as long as we just, contain Steph Curry and LeBron James. No, they're going to get their points. They're going to do some of those amazing things that you're just like, oh my God, that's just backbreaking and devastating. So to me, that's, that's why then Bosa almost is slightly less important. But with all that being said, if you have a defender or something, to kind of continue the basketball example, if you can shut Steph Curry down and you can shut down LeBron, well, now, of course, that game is a lot easier to win, right? If you contain Steph Curry to only like 2 threes and get him down to only 20 points, you're like, okay, I have a great chance at winning this game now. But again, you can't put all your eggs in that basket. Now with Brock Purdy, with Kelsey, even Kelsey, Christian McCaffrey, Ayuk, Pacheco, even Kittle, right? It's like these guys need to step up. They need to step up. They need to have bigger games. So to me, that's why those players, at least specifically for this Super Bowl, are significantly more important. But if you made me put where I would put Purdy right now, and I would put Purdy at least on the 3rd level of the mountain. I think that's fair. I don't think you could put him in the top 3, because you still need to have, and I think Christian McCaffrey. So really, if you were like, you have to pick right now, who do you want in terms of now who's most important in this game, I would say Mahomes at the top, and then I would put Christian McCaffrey and Kelsey, those 3 guys, and then Purdy at 4. And again, to be very clear, that's not who I'm saying in the order of the best players. That's who's most important. The Chiefs need to have Kelsey play, though. As much as I just said that they can drop passes, that was against an inferior team of Miami Dolphins. But they needed Kelsey to be big, even against the Ravens, making some very key catches in that game. So they need Kelsey to be able to bring it. The 49ers need Christian McCaffrey to go off. And the 49ers need Brock Purdy also to go off. So to me, that's where it comes down to. And then the other players, obviously you need Debo to be big, but theoretically, again, this is where ranking people is always difficult. Theoretically, if you had to pick, who do you need to have a big game? You can only pick one 49ers player on offense outside of Brock Purdy to have a big game. Who's it going to be? You're going to have to pick Christian McCaffrey over Debo, just because as amazing as Debo is, getting that run game and is so much more reliable for the 49ers and can also control the clock, which then controls the amount of possessions that Mahomes can get, that is now important. We do know that you want to give someone like Patrick Mahomes not a lot of possessions and not a lot of time of possession more than anything, that keeping him on the bench is way more important. And so if you get Christian McCaffrey going, that keeps the clock going, then that manages. So if you had to pick, you're a 49ers fan, you can only pick one player to really just show out and go off, it would be Christian McCaffrey in that regard, because then that will also settle Purdy most likely. It just has more of a I think of more of like an energizing, contagious thing of getting Christian McCaffrey. If you don't really get the run game going and you're really relying on throwing the ball at Debo, what's really fascinating is, and we see this in football, and this will be my last point, when a team is really reliant on the passing game, it's amazing how many times that just vanishes in a game, and all of a sudden now you just can't complete a pass. You've seen this so many times. It's just like, oh my God, now guys just can't get open. Or, if you, in the first half, you were relying on a lot of these amazing circus catches or some, a blown coverage. And now in the fourth quarter, it's just not there, right? And now that third down that you were getting, that 3rd and 9 pass that you were getting in the second quarter, in the fourth quarter, you're just not getting it. It's, oh my God, it's off his hands. Like, what are you doing? We see this all the time. But the run game, you get the run game going, that has a habit of just like kind of being, more consistent. And they say that run games travel better on the road. They travel better in poorer conditions. Establishing the run game. It's just so much can come from establishing the run in that regard. So that's why also I would put Christian McCaffrey without a doubt on that second level. But that's just the way I'm seeing it right now. I would love to hear your thoughts for this one. This is a tricky one to really kind of go off of. This is, to me, was kind of a sloppy segment personally. And it's just these mountains, when you start mixing all of these players like this, it works a lot better, I think, when you're talking about quarterbacks, because it's just, or just one position in general, it makes a lot more sense. But this is just, to me, is a lot trickier. But let me know what you all think in the comments below. Would absolutely love to hear your thoughts. Please don't forget to subscribe. As I said, we are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really helps with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.